to leave. All right. Do the coffee thing. I'm not gonna lie, the altitude here is kind of kicking me in the butt. I'm not used to being at almost 10,000 feet. And I'll just be laying in bed and catch my breath like, oh, can't breathe. Okay, we're all packed. Kind of sad about leaving this spot because it's so perfect, but I'm kind of ready to move on, even though this day is glorious. This morning I was setting my solar panels on the side to dry, and when I lifted my camper to put back on the 4Runner, I guess it smushed it. My side light reflectant cover cracked in half. Officially on the hunt for a new side light cover. Hopefully those are pretty straightforward to find. But I also broke my latch to my water heater access point from the outside, so I've zip tied that, but it's loose, so it probably is going to flap in the wind. So I'm learning things are not very durable. We need products that are durable for full-time use, not like part-time use. Because like, even when I was living in my 4Runner, things did not last. And that's just crap. I mean, I've been living on the road for 3.5 years now, almost. And I need things that work better. I think I said that I could potentially, this would be like a top place that I could live in. I take that back. I don't want to be able to see my neighbors. I don't want to be able to hear my neighbors. And I definitely don't want to hear the semi-trucks going back and forth doing whatever work they're doing. So I take it back. I don't think I could live here. I'm just driving and it's absolutely just stunning. I mean, look, it's so beautiful out here. I don't know how else to describe it. It's definitely like wild, wild west vibes. Just driving and listening to some praise music and worshiping God and just thanking Jesus for like this life. And I have this like really weird feeling right now that like I'm just so rushed all the time. And I've been this way since before I hit the road full time. And I know the lighting's a little weird, but you know what? I'm real. I ain't trying to stage anything. I just say it how it is. I say it when it is. I remember I'd go on my little 2-week vacations and I just have to see as much as I could. So I used to have a 2016 Toyota RAV4 and I built that thing out for like, 2-week overland trips. It was all-wheel drive. It wasn't anything crazy. It still had street tires on it, but it was awesome and it served its purpose and it got me to some really awesome places. And I remember one time Agron and I went on a trip. We were planning to do a backpacking trip in Wyoming. I can't remember if it was going to be the Cirque of the Towers or the Tacoma Basin Trail, but we ended up not doing that because when I got into town the day before I was going to start, they got 24 inches of snow on the mountains. And I was like, okay, that's going to kill it. I mean, it was early September. So we ended up going to Idaho instead, and we did the Toxaway Alice Lake Loop or whatever I think it was. And beautiful, beautiful. But we were not only dodging snow, we were also dodging wildfires because back then, I think this was 2019, all of the Pacific Northwest into Montana and Idaho and all of that was on fire. So like it was just crazy, but we managed to go on this beautiful multi-day backpacking trip with no impacts of this, whatever. But when we got done, I still had like a week left of vacation and I was like, what am I gonna do? I had plans to pick up my dad in Washington, so I drove all the way to Washington. I went up into the Olympic, National Forest area. I went to Forks, Washington. Like I did all of this stuff on this 2-week trip. I mean, we put so many miles on my little Toyota, but I felt so rushed. Like I couldn't stop and just enjoy the roses. And that was also the trip where I had one of my most scariest encounters on the road. And that was all in a video. So, if you guys would like to go check that out, go check out my Overlanding series. I have all kinds of content there. But anyways, the point of this whole thing is like, even after 3.5 years being on the road full time and having done all these 2-week overland trips and weekend warrior stuff, I still feel so rushed. Like after like 3 days at a campsite, I'm ready to move. And it's kind of, I'm kind of over that. Like I like it, but I'm also over it at the same time. Like I'm the kind of person that likes to see new things. I want to see everything. I want to go all the places. So it's been really hard for me to like settle down and like narrow and pinpoint where I want to have a homestead one day. And it's just making me realize that like I'm not ready to give up this nomadic lifestyle. And it definitely creates a challenge when I don't have a reliable income. I'm not working for that corporate company anymore. I'm doing seasonal work now, and I'm just loving it. Like I've never been happier in my life. Like I know even some of y'all have even commented like, oh my gosh, you look so happy. I've never seen you so happy. It's because I got out of this toxic corporate America and I just started following God's directions, and I'm just living my life for Jesus, and it's been great for me. It doesn't mean things haven't gone wrong, because they have. Have you seen my last video? But you know, it's a mindset change. And the one thing I can't seem to overcome is my need to move every few days. And it makes me a little uneasy because I'm about to start a gig where I'm going to be posted up in one spot for a while, and it's kind of making me wonder how I'm going to handle that. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to go stir crazy? Am I going to get cabin fever? Now, granted, the place that I'm going to be posted up in is pretty freaking cool, so I'm not too worried about it. But at the same time, it's really going to challenge me to see if maybe this is going to break my habit of having to move like every 3 days, and maybe I'll finally be able to rest a little bit and not be so, I gotta go, find a campsite, which for the most part doesn't bother me. But every now and then it's nice to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna stay here for 2 weeks. I can't do that. Even though I can now detach the trailer, I don't leave the trailer. I haven't gotten comfortable leaving my trailer out in the wilderness like that so I could go do a hike or go do stuff. So I'm still getting comfortable with this new setup, and I'm sure it'll happen. I've thought about getting like a little ring camera or something to put on the camera so I can see what happens, but you know, we just kind of stay close to camp. So I think I haven't quite allowed myself the opportunity to really relax and stay in one place, but I'm really curious to see how this all works out. But man, I do love Colorado. Colorado is one of my favorite places to be. I just don't know if I'd want to set roots here because everybody's moving here. It's getting super packed and populated, and that's great for, you know, people who want to move out here. But like, I kind of am leaning more towards Wyoming and South Dakota and Montana because it's still a little bit more remote out there. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I am just sharing kind of what's on my heart right now, and that's where I'm at. Also, I just put my visor back up and I had my registration there for both my trailer and my 4Runner. And I just remembered I got an email from South Dakota that is reminding me to renew my plates because every July I have to renew. So I have I have like 2 months before I have to do that. It's only May. But I literally just registered my trailer, and I'm like, you guys couldn't have like done it for like a year and 2 months? Like, I have to do this whole process again. So I'm gonna have to submit the paperwork. Thankfully, it's only like $36 or something like that for the year. But yeah, I was like, what? 2 things. One, I finally ran out of propane in one of my canisters or bins or whatever you call them, big 20-pound things. So I have officially switched over to my second one, and I'm a little nervous. I'm like, should I just fill up the other one? Because like, I don't know, like what if something happens? I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm that kind of person. I like to be prepared. But anyways, second, I'm going back up over this pass through Wolf Creek and into Pagosa, and I'm not even gonna check to see how the 4Runner is doing because, you know, when I saw 7.7 miles per gallon the other day, I was like, I don't think I want to know. Okay, I just checked and I'm about to go over the hump back down, and I didn't way better this time. So I averaged 13.2 miles per gallon going up that hill because I did not go over, like I really tried to stay at 2,000 RPM, and man was I crawling like 25 miles up this hill. But okay, I said I wasn't gonna look, but I had to, and y'all, I did so good. So yes, all right, 2,000 RPM is the sweet spot going up those hills, and just don't worry about it. It could be because the incline is not quite as long on the other side as it is on this side. Just sent a picture message to Jordan, and I sent her a picture of the beautiful snow-capped mountains when I was going over Wolf Creek Pass, and she was like, oh, how is the 4Runner doing up there? Because that's like one of Colorado's most steepest passes. I had no idea. I was choosing one of the most steepest passes in Colorado to test how the 4Runner would do. And let me just tell you, we are doing good. She's cruising. I mean, going down I think is worse for me because I'm having to downshift and have higher RPMs to help me with my brake control because I don't have trailer brakes, and I am averaging at about 12 now, but that's still pretty daggone good considering on the way up I was at 7.7 was my lowest miles per gallon. But yeah, I'm cruising at 14.5 even going down the hill. So I think the worst this round dropped me down to what, 13 something. But anyway, I think it's kind of funny that Jordan would text that to me right as I'm going through it, because I had no idea that this was one of the, I knew it was a really steep pass, and I've done it 100 times without the trailer, and I've done a lot of Colorado passes. You know, I've done Monarch Pass, I've done all of them pretty much. And so it's just funny that I would pick Wolf Creek as my initiation. All right, my friends, we made it down Wolf Creek Pass. We're heading into Pagosa Springs here in just a minute. We're going to be going to the Walmart. I'm going to get some grocery item resupplies and all of that stuff. I have 6 gallons of water in my water jug, and I'm thinking about filling up a couple. If I can find a water source, I will. If not, I think where I'm planning to camp tonight has water, like a creek, so I can purify my water. But you guys, I just hit sometime within this week, I just hit 70,000 miles where I have actually driven the 4Runner. Because when I purchased this 4Runner, it had 3,000 miles on it. I bought it used, even though it was brand new. And I've put 70,000 miles on this 4Runner, living in it full time. And I am very aware of how my 4Runner operates. I'm hypersensitive to the miles per gallon, and I'm very in tune with my 4Runner. And I have spent the last 70,000 miles living in this thing, and I'm just blown away by how good the 4Runner is doing. Chalupa is legitimately handling this phenomenally. Like, do you see my dog? I love him. I think I have found the home for the next 2 days. I was planning to only stay one night because I have to go into town at the post office and pick up a package, and it's Thursday, or is it Friday? Anyways, I think I'm gonna stay here through the weekend because this site is freaking cool. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how I set up my camp from start to finish. Now this process is gonna be a little wonky because I do have duct tape holding one of my side doors closed, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you what it really looks like to set up my camp from start to finish. It's really not that hard. It's just more of an inconvenience now that I don't have a key to access my side doors. But let's get started. So first things first, I always make sure that I'm level. I haven't detached the camper from the 4Runner, and I will eventually, but I want to make sure that I'm level before I do that because it's a lot easier to place rocks under tires and all that kind of stuff if I haven't already detached the trailer. I did have to place a rock under this tire to get level. I unlock the roof, and I have to do it on both sides. Now that I've unlocked the roof, I'm going to go ahead and unlock the door to the trailer and take out the step here. That way I can get in there, because it's a little bit hard for me to push this up with all my might if I'm not already standing on this stool here. Pull the door out, and then I get up here. And this is the trickiest part. I kind of have to play with this a little bit because I'm not exactly tall enough, but I make it work. So I usually have to push the roof up a few times, and since the trailer is collapsed on me, I'm a little bit hesitant. So I always lift my hands up, make sure it's up there, because I don't want it to fall again. And from here, I have to lift this wall up, and this Dutch door has to be pulled in a little bit so I can overcome it. And then I have to work with this door. So this is the trickiest part of the whole process. So the door has to come under, but then the bottom door has to come under. That way I can shut the door. Otherwise it won't latch properly. So now I'm gonna latch the trailer inside. Each wall has 2 latches, and this is where it gets a little tricky. There we go. So this is what it'll look like before I put the second wall up. So there's not a whole lot of room to work with. Now this latch here always gets pushed up, so I usually do this one first. All right, all 4 corners are latched. Okay. So then I just pick up my fridge from the ground and put it on the cabinet here. I can go ahead and take off my side satchel. Here's where I have to figure out where to put my solar panels, because the sun is directly above me, and every time I get to a new site, I'm not really sure where the sun is going to actually go throughout the day, but I think it goes this way, or does it go this way? I'm not really sure, so I'm just going to set them up, and if I have to move them, I will. I have my solar panel cables wrapped around my propane tank, and then I twist tie them in place, and they haven't moved since. So I've got this extra slack so I can move the solar panels where I need to, but because the sun is right there, I'm just gonna keep them laid down. Dogs dig a hole right by the entrance. It's like a death trap waiting to happen. I have a lot of duct tape on hand just in case. So I'm just gonna remove this duct tape. I'd like to try to save it if I can. So I have my stopper blocks. Got my drill. Felt something in there. Well, my drill was dead, so I'm charging my drill right now, but I'm gonna continue setting up camp, and we'll come back to stabilizing everything here in a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stabilize the front. That way I can take the pressure off of the 4Runner. So I'm gonna start by just unplugging everything. Now we're gonna unlock the hitch here. And I'm gonna use my electric jack to take the trailer off of the 4Runner. This takes a while, but I'm not gonna complain because this is way better than hand cranking it. We are free, so I'm gonna go ahead and move the 4Runner so I can lower the camper back down, but I've got them to attach. So I'm gonna detach the dog leash though, because I don't want their runner to come with me and then they have no room.
just gonna lower the camper back down to where it's level, and then hopefully by then I have enough power in my drill to do my stabilizer jacks. Now I'm just gonna lock the trailer so it can't get stolen, or at least it's harder to steal. Wow, this one's extra extended. Hey. Come on, guys. Come on. And my dog's dug a pretty good size hole. Jeez. Now I'm going to turn on the propane so that my fridge can get cool and I have access to my stove. So this one's empty, so we're gonna turn this one on. Make sure that the line is facing this canister. And then come over here and turn it on. Now, sometimes it's hard for me to tell if it's turned on because like I can look at the pilot light, but I won't usually be able to see anything. So what I'll do is I'll put my hand here, and if I feel heat, that means it's producing propane. I feel heat, so I think we're good. Come on, Pike. Well, bad news bears, this fridge no longer works. Not sure what happened, but it doesn't work anymore. So I am going to have to dispose of this fridge and, oh, yay. And my garden, starting to get strawberries. I am toasty, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and relax now, but that is pretty much how I set up camp. It's really not that big of a deal. It's just a few miscellaneous items that take a little bit of time, but this campsite is gorgeous. It's worth it, and we're gonna enjoy for the next few days. hope you enjoyed today's video. I certainly enjoyed this campsite for the next few days. But don't worry, more to come.